Well folks, we're a couple of turns into this battle royale on 17N/A6 Prime, and things are looking a little hairy for the enforcers because I've lost one unit to the attack of this Plague Stage 2 creature over here. The Plague 1 stage creature is walking forward through the middle of the ruins, and it's rather relentless. This missile launcher up here is giving him the benefit of his missile launcher, but doesn't seem to be having any effect as yet. And the commander here is still pinned. Things are a little grim. The game continues.
Next phase, this fellow over here has just having booby-trapped the chest, which has blown him into this square. This fighter is just leaning over the wall and unleashing a barrel load into his head, and he's hit 4 times.
Now this is something we've done. We keep rolling dice, and because we don't have any more 8-sided dice than we're given with the game, when we roll the 8-sided dice and we do a number of hits, we've just put down these little red counters just to remind us that the Plague has done 4 hits, and then I can grab all the dice because we have this habit of forgetting how many hits you've done. So I'm now rolling my survive test, my survive test, and I get 3 dice. And I get +1 if pinned or suppressed. I am suppressed. In fact, I'm lying up against a wall going. I look up and I see a Plague creature shooting me in the head.
Excellent.
I mean, it's a bad day.
It is, and you've already taken 4 hits. How many can you resist?
My survive is 3+. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh! Ha ha! He rolls out at the last moment. And survives. Someone's turned on the halogen lights. It's getting into nighttime here on 17N/A6 Prime. How do you feel at this point, Will?
Oh, I'm feeling quite confident, but usually when that happens, it's a case of hubris and I end up losing. So, as you said though, the Plague leader is remorselessly stomping his way through the middle and going to deliver some nasty surprises fairly quickly, along with this fellow who's hiding in here. Ooh. Oh.
What's he doing in there?
A flanking movement going on here with the Plague Stage 2A creatures. And that's, I think we've just finished a round, haven't we? So we've refreshed cards and to take off all these activation markers. And it's going to be your turn because I moved last in the previous turn.
I realised with delight that Deadzone is an extremely cinematic game. It's very enjoyable. So over here, the commander of the enforcers opened this ammo box here and got thrown into this square where he was thrown against the wall, pinned. This Plague fellow leant over the wall and shot him in the head, but he rolled out of the way, and then he got up and groggily shaking his head realised he was in the objective square and got 2 victory points, then turned round and shot him in the head. So it shoots, so it's a 3 dice.
And the question on everyone's lips is, will Peter remember to use a card this turn?
He will. It's a clear shot because he's right up next to him, and presumably he can lean over the wall and see the whole figure. Well, that's how we're playing it anyway. So 2 squares. There are no other advantages except I will play a +1 shoot battle card. There it is. So we have a total, everybody, of 6. Count them. Count them.
That would be 5.
Count them.
Plus
6.
another 1. That's 6.
And it's a shoot. I need 4+. 1. What? 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 1 hit.
It's War of the Ring all over again.
Oh no. That was a reference to our other War of the Ring video.
In which,
sure to see it on the Esoteric Order of Games YouTube channel.
And in the denouement to that particular action, he got 1 hit and I got 4 saves, so he missed totally.
Obviously far too groggy after the effects of the frag explosion.
Obviously.
My enforcer with the burst laser saw this horrible stage 2 plague creature coming through the window here, so he blasted that cube with burst laser fire. And this is how burst laser fire goes. Suppress the entire cube, and he is now suppressed and can't cause any damage. Right, the enforcer is running from his cover here. He ran into this square. There was an equipment crate in that. He whipped open the lid of the equipment crate, managed to get himself some AP ammo, slammed his gun, turned around at this guy here, and rolls. He needs a 4+. Ah,
Gets 1 hit.
Oh, obviously he tried to do too much in one turn.
And I get 3 dice,
3 dice
plus
survival.
cover.
Plus cover, you get 4 dice all up.
And I need a 5. So yes, I easily save that.
So that wasted the AP ammo. Could have been good, could have been wonderful, but it failed miserably. Ever get that feeling of impending doom? This guy, there's an onslaught of plague creatures and they're coming fast.
Yes, and now this fellow is going to go here and kill you. Horribly. Horribly.
He suddenly headed back.
Yes, it's a fight, and I'm going to play a +1 fight card just to make sure. So, he's a brawler, so he gets +1. It's a fight, he just moved in, so he gets another one. And he's playing fight cards, another one, so that's +3 dice. So that's 6 dice. And he needs a 3+, and he got just a lousy 3 hits. That's pathetic.
3 hits. Oh, so he's right at rolling a survive test. His survive is 4+. He rolls 4 dice. 1, 2, 3.
Curses!
He survives to fight another day!
My heavy machine gunner up on the top of the tower here has just laid down a blaze away suppressive fire on the missile launcher, which had to be done because next turn he was going to snot either him or him with a armor-piercing missile. So, but now he's pinned, is it? Or is he suppressed? He's suppressed by the rapid fire, weight of fire, massive suppression of the heavy machine gun.
Curses! I've only got this guy down with a burst laser to suppress one of these, but of course one of them is going to get through.
Yes.
And things could get very messy, especially if it's the one with the acid breath.
Or the one with the acid teeth.
It's definitely time to bring the commander down, but as you can see, he has troubles of his own. One of us, in fact it was me, just made the comment, and I'm about to say this. This is heresy because Necromunda is one of my favourite games. It's an old Games Workshop game of urban combat, and this is pretty much inspired by it. And I'm about to say the following. This is more fun than Necromunda. Would you agree, Will?
Yes, I would. But it's quite complicated. It's taken us a few turns to get our heads around it, but it definitely flows better than Necromunda.
And it does seem to be even more cinematic, which is a big call, as Necromunda is a very cinematic game. So despite the effort involved in getting your figures painted and your terrain made, and you know all about that effort because you've been following that effort on my videos up to this point, I'm happy to say that it's a fun game.
It's all worth it, the pain and suffering, and long hours hunched over with a head loop and paint.
So interesting things happening in this great battle on 17N/A6 Prime. The interesting thing is that we're slowly getting close to the end of our battle cards. If we keep using them with such abandon, we're going to be in trouble because the game will end. And at that point we have to be very careful about who has the most victory points, because at the moment the Plague has 4 and the Enforcers have 4.
He's got his 4 from capturing objectives. I've got my 4 simply by keeping half my people, at least half my people, alive for 4 turns.
So I've been capturing objectives, but I haven't been placing enough attention in killing the enemy. I've captured this objective here and this one over here, but the crucial one, which randomly appeared in the middle, annoyingly enough, the crucial objective, which is under this guy here, is objective Z, and that is the one that will give me 5 points if I control it.
Yes.
The problem is that controlling it means being in the square and having nothing else in the square or in adjacent squares, and that is just not going to happen because at the moment it's swarming with plague. Yes. So really getting another 5 points from that objective is not viable. The only way I can get extra points now is to kill plague. I must kill them because I have to have more victory points than my opponent before the game is over. Very interesting tactical choices.
Yes, it's very interesting to see what you do on the way to losing.
Another wonderful cinematic moment here. The guy with the missile launcher on the top here was suppressed, and what he did was do a get mean action which took him up to pinned, and then he played a courage card, so he found the gumption to get up to being active again, being alert, and he still had a short action left. So he could shoot, but he couldn't shoot with his missile launcher because a missile launcher takes a long action to attack. So what he did was he dropped the missile launcher and he drew his pistol on it at the stage 2 guy here, And although it didn't wound him, he did manage to pin him. Ha! So his acid breath won't be bothering anyone this round. The Enforcers just made a game-changing error. After the guy with the missile launcher used his pistol to pin the stage 2 guy here, the fellow with the burst laser got all excited, jumped the barricade and charged in to fight him, hoping to kill him while he was down. Unfortunately, the opposite happened. The stage 2 guy rolled 4 hits, and killed the man with the burst laser. Very, very stupid move. I should have stayed where I was and continued to lay down suppressing fire. Crucial rookie mistake.
Yes, indeed. I wouldn't personally go charging in against one of these things which we know has acid breath and is tough and all the rest of it, and is a brawler armed only with a knife. In the previous turn, this fellow here, this trooper who was in here, managed successfully to break off the action and retreat behind these barrels, but he was injured, getting a talon in the back in the process. And now in this turn, the remorseless Plague Stage 1A has come lumbered in here and attacked again, and got 3 hits. He saved one of them, but it wasn't enough because he's got armor-piercing 2 talons, so it's...
So really, I would have survived if I'd stayed in the same square and just taken it.
Yes.
Instead, I tried to run back screaming.
You might have survived, but very unlikely. Now, just to give a sense of the true atmospheric horror of this game, we've just been visualising what's been happening, because this fellow here, who's the commander, is standing fighting with him. He's just seen one of his colleagues torn to shreds by this plague demon over here. Meanwhile, over here, these two have leapt the barrier and are charging in, and the talons are going cling, clang, cling up the ladder. Meanwhile, he's laying down suppressive fire from the top. It's not a good situation.
The Enforcers are fighting back in desperation now, but it is desperate, absolutely desperate. The guy with the missile launcher is on the top here. He's being attacked by 2 stage 2 guys, and he managed to stop one of them by playing a distract card. So he went, distract him, so he's now activated. My commander over here is holding off this stage 3 guy, and at the same time shouting orders frantically over here, and by getting doubles on a command test, he managed to distract this guy as well, so he is activated as well. So the danger is off for 1 turn, which is good, and in the meantime he shot a missile down into here, blew him up.
So after the demolition of my general in the middle here, it was my turn, and of course my leader, my commander, came stomping in here. There was a mass brawl here in which he injured this fellow, and then he attacked him and did nothing, and then it was the end of the round, and I drew my last command card, at which point the game ends.
How many victory points do you have?
7.
And I have 5. And it's all as it should be. It's really all over bar the shouting. I actually like that mechanic because there would have been a few turns of protracted killing of my Enforcers. It was all over for them. I only had the commander left and the missile launcher guy up there, and he was about to be swarmed by Plague 2 guys. And I'm disgusted with myself. I was absolutely decimated. I've got 3 guys killed. I only killed one of the Plague guys. And the only thing I can say in my defense is that I ran for the objectives too quickly and did not concentrate on killing Plague meanies.
Yes, well, it's difficult to get a balance, but this was only our 2nd game.
It was. We're still getting the hang of it and finding out what the units do. But a fantastic game. Very enjoyable, and as you can see, looks fantastic. I think all that effort that went into painting and preparing the miniatures was well worth it, and I'm very pleased with Deadzone. The gameplay is certainly worth all the effort.
Absolutely, and isn't it a shame that we didn't get to see these 2 plagues swarm up onto this structure here and rend the rocket launcher man.
I think we can just fade out on that and leave it to the imagination of the viewers.
Yes.
Rest assured it would be bloody, messy and extremely unpleasant to watch. And this is a G-rated video after all. So with the screams of the missile launcher Enforcer fading away in the distance, it's good night from me.
And it's good night from him. Good night.